Bold Beginnings, where we teach and show you how God works in our careers and our lives, what His purpose is for us, and why we should trust Him in everything that we do. My name is Rita Wilson.
And I'm Sandra Fernandez.
And we are here with Alex. How are you, Alex?
Doing good.
Doing good. Welcome to
Thanks for
Bold
having me.
Beginnings, the podcast. So Alex was actually a referral from Melanie.
I know. That's what, yep.
Is that
we were
what
talking
it is
about
that you
that.
guys
Yeah.
were talking about that? So she's like, Rita, I met this guy and he's kind of like on his journey. So, you know, he's not Christian, but he's like on his journey of knowing God. And I was like, whoa, that'll be amazing to like talk to him and stuff like that. And so, I mean, she had nothing but great things to say about you, right? And then we talked, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then he's here.
Nice.
So,
Love it.
thanks, Mel. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, Alex, so before we get into your journey, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do for fun? And then what do you do for work?
So, right now, kind of the biggest thing that I do is lately has been work, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of relax playing video games, things like that. Probably shouldn't admit it as much as I scroll on social media, but definitely see a lot there.
That's okay.
And then I got 3 kids, 16, 14, and 12, and they're a big part of my why. And I only get to see them once a week, and right now that's, I think, why I'm just so focused on work, is to start changing that.
Right.
Because I definitely want to spend more time there.
Beautiful.
And then, for work, I do financing. So I broker, I do business financing, commercial in Utah, residential. So that's kind of what I do. I just find people money.
To get buildings and houses. And
Buildings, houses, lines of credit.
business, all the good
all,
stuff.
all the stuff.
Yeah.
So
I love it. What made you get into that?
that's kind of been a long journey. Started because before I was a diesel mechanic,
Oh,
and I just wasn't satisfied there, and I just felt like there was something more. And so I started looking around and got with a group of investors and started doing deals and everything. And I wanted to do, like, I liked real estate and I liked making the deals happen, but then there's the part of it, once the deal's done, you have to take care of the house. And then I started thinking, oh, well, maybe I can get into the paper side of it instead of dealing with the taxes and the tenants and all that stuff. I'll just get into that, but I really didn't know where I was going there. And I had an opportunity with a friend, and he worked with another mortgage company, and he just says, you know a lot of this stuff. Why don't you just jump into it? And so I had a conversation with his boss, and I thought it was a conversation until somebody broke in and needed him, and he's like, I'm almost done with this interview. And then I just kind of like, oh, I would have put on a nicer shirt if this is an interview.
you're like, what's happening?
Yeah, but either way, he hired me. They got me licensed and going, and then interest rates happened, and we were very small in what we could do there. And my boss, Crystal, now, I've known her for like 10 years. She actually started me with the real estate group, and I just gave her a call and said, hey, you still do loans and stuff. What kind of loans do you do? And she's like, I do everything. And I went, great. I need something other than just regular mortgages right now. So I got in with her and been learning it. And honestly, especially my background with business owners and investors, doing those kind of deals, it's a lot more fun for me, because sometimes it's just quick, dry, easy, great.
Right.
But then other times you got to think about things. There's a lot of pieces that go into it, and you just get to kind of solve the puzzle.
Right.
So
That's cool. Seems like you're happy where you're at.
I am happy where I'm at, and
I like that.
I know she's going to see this, so I have to give her a shout out. Crystal's been monumental in not only just my business life, but even personal too. She's been a great friend. I've known her for like 10 years now, which is kind of crazy to think it's been that long.
That's
It's
crazy.
been a little bit longer than that now.
Wow.
Yeah. So
10 years. That's a good relationship, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love it. So you're not Christian,
Well,
or you are Christian, or you're
I guess by definition, I do believe in Jesus.
okay. You
So-
believe in Jesus.
So therefore, yes, I do have a Christian faith.
Yes.
I was raised LDS, and I was baptized there. I haven't been to church for like an actual service since I was like 12 or 13. There was a lot. My parents split up at that time, and there was a lot going on just between me and then the family life, and there was a little bit of a church aspect, which you look back and you have to remember, was it the faith or the people?
Right.
And so I would say that I've maintained a good kind of like a background faith, if you will. Like it's always been there, but just kind of like yeah,
It's playing in the background.
I believe there's something more to all of this,
Right.
but that was kind of the extent of the conversation. It hasn't been until recently where
You're
I've
exploring.
I've just kind of been seeing, like I told you, just been seeing some breadcrumbs.
Okay.
And just kind of, I'm at a point in my life where I've just kind of started following them. And it's been an interesting few months since then. So
That's. I think your story's cool. Okay, let me just say that. And I think it's amazing to have you here because I think it's important for our viewers and listeners to see that, like, just the start and the beginning of all of this, right? Because, like, he has Christian's beliefs, and, you got this spark to kind of explore a little bit. Like, this is powerful.
Right.
Like, this is beautiful to me. Where
This
you're
is a bold beginning.
it is a bold.
Bold
Where is
beginning.
Wes, right? It is definitely a bold beginning to be like, you know what? I'm gonna go for this and see what it is. And like, I just want to say that, like, kudos to you for
thank you.
taking a chance, right?
Yeah, and
Giving God a chance, him seeking you, whatever you want to call it, right?
yeah, because there's definitely been a good section of my life, and kind of looking at different things, I feel like a lot of people do have this common story where they've gone through some things in their life where you just not, like, looking back, you're like, why was I doing that? Why was I there?
Right.
I've definitely done my fair share of partying. I've done all kinds of things in my life, and I wouldn't say that I've ever considered myself necessarily a bad person, or, but there was a lot where I was just lost, and it's kind of funny. Just sometimes you don't even realize it until you start finding a direction again.
That's powerful. I was lost, but I don't realize it until I start finding my direction. So what started sparking all of this? Like, where? Because I know you weren't really, practicing the Christian belief. So what peaked the bubble, popped the bubble, whatever.
Well, I think it's been like just a culmination of going through harder times in my life, and yeah, it's probably the past 5 years really have just been, I've just hit low after low after low.
Okay.
And there's always just been kind of this, I don't know if it, and the way I would describe it right now is just kind of like a whisper, like, hey, and you hear even with some of like the personal development groups and things like that, they say you look for signs, give yourself, and it's kind of funny because they do end up saying a lot of the same things. They just like to use a different word.
They take God out of it.
Yeah, so
But
like,
it's always God.
so like, well, it's like
The universe,
yeah,
Lord.
the universe,
I'm over it.
energies.
No.
Instead of
It's the
prayer,
Lord.
it's meditation.
Right.
But you're still accomplishing the same thing. It's you're speaking words into existence. You're still putting out energies. You're still asking for help from something higher, and kind of through those ideas, there have just been little touches that it's been more of a concrete, yes, hey, I'm out here looking for you, where are you? You know, you should have been here already, type. Kind of almost like that's kind of been the feeling, is just like, as I've been going through this, there's little things like, oh, the path is already there, I just had to start picking up the breadcrumbs.
What was your first crumb?
You know,
That's a good question.
I don't know if I could pinpoint one specifically, but it's just been, so I've always kind of liked religion from like an architectural or not architectural, but like an anthropological, like how did things happen? Where did we get these different ideas? And just kind of following that line. And so I think that's what kind of ended up getting me a little bit onto like Bible TikTok, you know?
Good old TikTok.
Yeah, good old TikTok. So yeah, and then through that, it's just been other, you know, you start hearing different stories, and then I started just kind of seeing the parallels in my life and where I was. And then I would have a moment where like it was just too much. And it's kind of funny. So my father passed, and I have his urn, and it has a picture on it. And it's a little candle, so I'd light a candle, and I would just speak to him. And then I was kind of reminded, so that's like your Father who art in heaven? And I was just like, I see where you're going with this. I get you, yeah. And, but yeah, so it kind of started with that, and then I realized every time I like just expressed it, let myself go, and just kind of, I guess, surrendered to it, because even when I started doing it, I guess I felt foolish a little bit. I'm like,
Really?
I'm in a room, just sitting here talking to myself. Like, I feel like this is how crazy starts.
Yeah. I guess
And then
it's
all
real.
of a sudden, out of nowhere, that would be like a little glimpse, and I was like, okay, that kind of worked.
Yeah.
And then just as things progressed, it just the more I did it, the more it worked. Now there've still been setbacks, and there's still been things like that, but I've been able to start recovering faster. I've been able to start giving into the process, and it's kind of funny how it just moves along. So that's kind of been the journey thus far.
I love that, because once you get that glimpse, it makes you hungry for more.
Yes.
You know, and then you're like, okay, wait, let's keep going. So I'm excited for you, because I think and I love that he speaks in your language. You know what I mean? And when you said, oh, so that's like your Father in heaven, or, you know, in heaven. It's like he knows that that's gonna get you. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, let me hit him with this one.
Let me hit him with this one.
And it hits you in a way where you're like, oh, you know. So I love that, because
and if there's one thing that I've been blessed with, is a pretty good sense of humor. I can laugh at most situations, but at the same time, I feel like like it was that little moment. So if there was a moment, it was probably with that, like, oh, you're talking to your Father who art in heaven, and I was just like, cheeky. Okay.
I like you. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Cheeky. How funny. So you said you've been reading the Bible on TikTok? Have you been reading the physical Bible?
So I do still have both, actually, my Book of Mormon and Bible. It's not been cracked open for probably 20 years at this point, but it's still there.
Stiff.
It's still there. Mint condition, if you will.
Yeah.
But so
Have you opened your Bible?
I have not
You have
done
not.
that yet.
Okay.
But it has
Is there
been
fear?
funny. You know, I just kind of, with that, I just haven't really focused on it. One thing that's been kind of interesting is, and I was kind of telling you about before, was there's been little things where, so I have actually started reading different scriptures, but it's been Again, shout out to TikTok. We're
doing its mission.
yeah, it's doing it's working well.
Shout
I
out
guess.
to TikTok.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, we were just like, it'll be little things like when, like I was telling you, it was just TikTok comes up and it says, God has a message for you. Look at the time and look up the Bible verse. And that was it. And I was like, okay. And I looked it up and it started, and it went into a story about how, like, the apostles hadn't been, like, they were kind of done being apostles and they became fishermen again. And they couldn't catch anything. And then they see a man on the shore and he says, throw the net off the other side of the boat. So they do, and they just start pulling fish up. And when they get back, they realize that man that was telling them what to do, it was Jesus. And then kind of a little of the description was like, so, you give your business over to God. He knows what's best for you. Even if you're not necessarily serving him the way he wanted you to at that moment, still put your faith in him. Still do something.
Right.
Just listen, and he'll give you better guidance than you've been doing. Even if it's just to change the direction, just, hey, throw it off the right side instead of the left.
Right. I think that's powerful.
And then the other one that I was seeing is it was a guy came up and he was talking about the story where they're on the rough waters and Jesus walks up to them on the water. And he says there's one, and I thought it was really powerful for me because he goes into and I don't know the verses specifically, but he was saying that everybody talks about the one scripture, but in the alternate account it says it as Jesus was going to walk right by them. He wasn't going to stop initially. And he says, and his message with that was, that's so powerful because Jesus said, I'll meet you on the shore.
Yeah.
Jesus didn't say, hey, I'm gonna stop at the storm. Hey, I'm gonna save you here. He was, I'll meet you there. His plan was, I'm gonna meet you there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until they stopped and was like, hey, I need help, that he was like, oh, well, I can do that too. So the plan is here. If storms and tribulations come, well, we made the contract. We'll meet you on the other side.
Yeah.
Powerful.
It's not, well, how do we, well, then when a big storm comes, if it's something that we can't handle,
Right.
then we can invite him back and say, hey, help.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, well, and then, he helps with that problem, and then, but the goal is still, okay, but I'll meet you at the shore.
I'll meet you at the shore.
I love your
I think-
curiosity. Just that curiosity to, like you said, start looking stuff up. If you're just scrolling and the Lord, he's like, you know what? This one's a scroller. I'm just going to insert myself in there. and I love that he'll use anything.
That's what I was
to
gonna
get your
say.
curiosity going.
That's not an accident
Right.
that you're seeing these things, because some people are like, oh, it's just a coincidence. And it's God inviting you
Yep, because that's where it unfolds.
to build a relationship with him.
Yeah.
That's why you're seeing these things. I'm going to tell you, it's not a coincidence, okay? Whether you believe me or not.
Well, like
It's
I said,
not
I'm
a
following the
coincidence.
breadcrumbs. I'm
Yeah.
gonna see where this path leads because I do feel like it does give a direction, it does give a purpose, and there have been even things since I've kind of decided that to where, I kind of jokingly say, I've done so much, so now it's like, okay, well, let's see where this goes.
Right.
The question comes up a lot, I feel like, from are you sure? So like things start happening.
Are you sure you want
Yeah.
this? Because
Yeah.
when I throw it at
we're,
you.
yeah, we're so you say you want that, huh? Or maybe I've also been told that it's the other side saying that, like, are you sure? Are you sure you want this? Because look at all this stuff over here. It's easier over here. This is going to be easy. You don't have to do
Yeah.
anything. So
Trying to pull you back, huh?
yeah.
Well,
So-
And those thoughts, I feel like in these moments when you're really turning towards towards God, it's almost like those thoughts come out a little bit louder.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just going to say, Satan's not going to leave you alone. He's going to
Yeah.
say, I'm not going to bug you when you're in your sin and you're comfortable and just doing it. You're really not a threat. Is when you start getting up and seeking, right? And
Like, wait a minute.
and listening, right? Then he starts to rumble your life, and then
Yeah.
you're like, huh? And a lot of people sometimes will be like, well, let me just go back to what I was doing because I know it's as comfortable. But just know, like, if you're having these attacks and things are not going well, is because he's trying to pull you back while you're trying to go forward. So keep fighting.
yeah, I had a conversation, and it was kind of funny because I was told
Like, just
the devil's not going to fight what he already has.
go ahead.
Like he's not going to
Better
fight for what he
say it
already
loud.
has. So and that really helped me because there has been a lot of things, and so it's just like, okay, well, if I'm worth fighting over, then it's worth pursuing.
Oh, you're work.
Oh,
You
if
better
I'm
say
worth
it again.
that
Don't make
was
me
a-
stand up on this
that was a golden
podcast.
nugget. If I am worth fighting for, and that is
Then
so
it's worth pursuing.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Hold
I
on,
love
let's just pause. That really is so good.
Yes.
If I'm worth fighting, like
I love it.
I want to be fought for. You know what
Isn't
I mean?
that crazy though? God is
Yeah.
fighting for you.
Yeah.
I-
He wants
Girl.
like Uncle Sam. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I want
He is fighting for you.
Yes.
That's so powerful. Like,
and
he-
it's so beautiful.
and it's true. He's fighting
Yeah.
for all of us.
Yeah.
All of the lost souls.
Yeah.
The
he's fighting
Lord
for you.
is fighting for.
Yeah.
Like, I hope y'all heard that.
Yeah. No, I
love
think I
it.
think that's so beautiful.
It is. That was good.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm
what was
simmer in that one.
Well, it's been great being here.
And that's it
dropped
for you folks.
Just kind of.
Just, we're done.
Okay,
So-
so how did you? Okay, so you have this thought. If he's fighting for me, then it's worth pursuing.
Amen.
That is just so beautiful. to
Amen.
say. Okay, but how did you feel in that moment?
Like, just it was kind of funny because I tend to say things and people are like, that's really smart. Well, like, can you repeat that? And the answer is usually no. That was a very in the moment thing.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
like I just kind of spoke what I felt in that moment. And so then it's kind of interesting to see, like, I guess your reaction as well, because
Right.
it made me stop and go, oh yeah, no, I really am getting fought over. Like,
Yes,
this is
it's
the
so
truth.
It was kind of nice to, I guess, get that like
You are.
stamp.
Yep.
Like, there you go. So
You really are. And
Like I'm that special. I'm that loved
he loves me so much.
so much that you would go out of your way to come and
Bring me
Find
to
me.
you.
well, and in the same token, I guess, like the reverse is true. I'm so important that they both want me.
Go
So
ahead.
I'm on the. So he's gonna.
you're
be
on the
fighting
hit
Tug of
list
war.
Yeah.
and the
It's a tug of
wanted
war.
list.
Oh, and sometimes it feels like it, doesn't it? Sometimes it feels like
Yeah.
a nice tug of war.
It
Yeah.
is a tug of war
Yeah.
for sure. Because you do, like, we enjoy comfort. It's so bad, right?
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, I want my comfort to be you. Take away the old
Yeah.
comfort and let my comfort be you and be in your word and be about you, you know? Like, I want my day-to-day comfort to be me consistently doing the things of the Lord.
Right.
And we fall back into the bad comfort, right? The easy things, the things
Yeah.
that's not going to get us nowhere. And I think truly you're going to find your path, right? Like, you talk about your purpose. I was talking to, I don't even know who I was talking to. I was like, you know what's funny? I've been in corporate America my whole life, and I've been in high positions, but I never made it to the next level. It was Eva. We were on the phone. And I said, I never made it to the next level of corporate, right? Because I've always had the opportunity to be like a director or something bigger, but I just never made it there. And I had all this corporate experience and people experience. And I said, I never made it there. And it was so hard. And I worked so hard. I worked harder than everyone. I put my heart into it. I was honest. I did the right thing. And I never made it there. And now I'm here in my life. And I'm like, that's because this is where I was supposed to put my energy into. this is where the Lord wanted me, because if I would have
Yeah.
made it there, I would have been lost and gone.
Yeah.
And so he blocked and closed that door because he said, this is what I want you to put your heart and your energy and your soul, and I'll get you further than you can even think. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we don't realize that our life purpose is to serve God, right? Like what we're looking for is in him. He's the core of it. And so don't stop.
How do you handle when you do have those voices and you do have, you're seeking God, but then it's like, oh,
I'm
you know
tired
what?
today.
It's easier to just like.
I need a beer
especially
tonight.
because it's just so fresh, and it's so
It
new.
is.
So how do you
good
handle
question.
how do you go about that, and how do you handle it?
So it kind of depends, and I'm not gonna say that I don't just kind of sometimes go, yeah, we're
Right.
we're gonna get drunk tonight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
still
thank
do-
you for being honest and
Yeah,
vulnerable.
we love the realness.
Yeah, and so it's just one of those where I guess kind of just take it day by day, and I've noticed that the more I focus on it, there have been things, and like you said, what I want sometimes that's might not be for me. And as I've been doing this, there have been things that I've wanted, and ideas that I had, and there's been a couple options that have just been taken out of my way, and it's not easy, but at the same time, I realize that it's also simpler.
There we go. You're doing it again. Go ahead.
Because
Yeah.
I think one of these things that we have is, kind of the whole world has ADD right now, and we just have a plethora of choices. We always have something else we can do. There's always that next
Yeah.
shiny object, and so to just be able to say, okay, this is the direction. It just simplifies so many more things, because it's like, it allows a discipline that you don't. Okay, but that's over there. I don't need that right now. This is where
This
I'm
is
Right.
my
This is
focus.
that's on the other side of my path.
Yeah.
If this path circles back around, I might be able to pick it up there. But right now, this is the direction.
You pick one and you commit to it.
Yeah.
It's I love that you said that, because I'm the type, like, I'm go-getter-ish, right? Like, I'll do 10 things at one time. So is she. I think that's why I like you. No. But I love that you said that, because that's the distraction and the noise of the
Yeah,
world, right?
for sure.
You can be whatever and do whatever. And almost like we are taught, like, don't let any opportunities fall through the cracks. But it's like, no, you want to let some
Yeah.
opportunities, because that opportunity is going to take you
Somewhere
off your
else.
path
Yeah.
that is not where the Lord wants you. So sometimes when things don't work through or go through as you want it, you got to let it go and say, thank you, Lord. Because you know what? If it
Yeah.
was meant for me, you would have given it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of one of those things in like some of the personal development classes. If it's meant, I attract what's meant for me. Things like that. Those kind of affirmations where you allow what is for you to come and what isn't to fall
go.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's things that you were like, yeah, no, this is my life. This is what I want. And then it's like, but you weren't meant for this.
Right.
That's so funny. That happened to me because my biggest dream was to go to New York and do makeup there. I mean, I would cry about this. I had a whole New York poster. I was like, I'm going to make it there one day. Yeah. And I did. And I remember...
She said, I did. I was like, you didn't? I'm over here,
No,
tree.
I did. And I got to do makeup for an event for New York Fashion Week out there. And I just remember thinking it was a beautiful experience because, number one, I felt like that's what the Lord used to reignite what I wanted again, right? Because in that moment, I was just very down, very low, very like no vision, no desires, no nothing, right? And so I developed my relationship with God during that time, and this opportunity came up, and I was like, why would you put that in front of me if I wasn't gonna go? Like, it's almost like I woke up and was like, wow, yeah, that's right. I've always wanted to go to New York since I was little.
You kind of forgot about it, huh?
Yeah, and I had forgot about it. Life had happened. I had a baby at 18 and just kind of forgot about all of it, right? And he used that to ignite that fire in me again.
Amen.
To dream again, to be like, wow, you're right. I did want that. So this opportunity presents itself. I said yes. Well, they said no to me. But then I was like, Lord, I need you to tell him that I'm going. Because why would you put this in front of me and not
If you're not
follow
gonna give
through
it to
with
me,
it?
right.
Like, wow, you know?
Knowing that I want it.
Yeah. So anyways, I did have the opportunity to go, and it was amazing. It was a dream come true, literally. But there was something that was weird about it, because when I was there, it was beautiful, exciting. The adrenaline was real. Like, I didn't sleep for 3 days. But he showed me something, and it was almost like, this isn't where I want you. You know what I mean? He still allowed me to go through it and to get there and to be there and to experience it. But he made me realize the other side of what I wanted was just very,
He's like, this is not the life you want to live.
yes.
This is not
It was just very,
what you want to do.
it's beauty industry. It's very vain. It's very about surface. It's
Yes.
super, you got to look this way. You got to do this. You got to keep up with this, you know what I mean? And
To do stuff.
and
to
it's so weird
that.
because I saw that in the people that were there. And it just made me like, huh. But then a part of me was like, no, but this is still what I'm pursuing, right? Like, this is the dream. But
It's not funny how we try to like.
But in that, he kind of guided me in a different direction. It's still in the beauty industry, different area of the beauty industry, right? And so, and maybe one day it'll come back around in a different way, like you said. But it did. It made me realize, like, okay, maybe this isn't for me.
Wow.
But thank you for allowing me to experience this and to have that opportunity, you know. And yeah, he's done really cool things.
That's beautiful.
I lost my way a little bit.
You're good.
And I feel like, kind of to your story, like it's always when you look back.
Yeah.
So like, even with me where I'm at right now, there's been so many times where I really didn't have any reason to be where I was at.
Yeah.
But it was like I was put there. At the time, I was just kind of going through motions. But then you stop and you go, oh, that was a very critical moment.
Right.
And it was, like, at the time, almost inconsequential. But it was just that, like, little nudge. Like, and I feel like even with your story with the, you were in corporate world and you could have made a success there, but you knew it wasn't what you wanted. And now here both of you are. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't know it's not what you want until God shows you otherwise.
But and kind of the way I've been looking at things is it's the lessons we learn. So like when I was a diesel mechanic, the new people that would come in, we were flat rate, always fighting the clock. So if you didn't, like if a job paid 2 hours and you did it in an hour and a half, great, you made time. If you did it in 3 hours, you felt like you were losing time.
Money, yeah.
And I started, especially the new ones, they get really frustrated with that. And I say, did you get the job done? Yes. Okay. Did you learn something that's going to make that job go way faster if it ever comes up again? Yes. Okay, then you didn't lose, you learned. There's always a lesson.
You didn't lose, you learned.
Just focus on the lesson.
Yeah.
Next time, you lick the wounds, but let's get back to it.
Okay, hold on, stop, pause.
There's a blessing and a lesson.
There's always a lesson. Lick the wounds.
Lick the wounds. You learned.
Yes.
The lick the wounds part, though, I'm like, Alex, what are we licking?
The wounds.
Why?
But
I love it.
yeah, so I think that's the other side of this journey is I keep looking for the lesson.
Amen.
So what am I supposed to learn? And sometimes I think the hard part is sometimes you're the lesson. You're not supposed to learn something. You're supposed to teach somebody something. So it might not be a good everybody learns in the situation, but sometimes I feel like we're put there to teach somebody.
To teach.
There's going to be something we take away from it generally too, but
Right.
there's been a lot of people that I've come across where I was like, I've learned so much from you. Then there's other people that I'm like,
You're like,
you needed me more than that.
I was going to say, sometimes you'll go to something and you're like, I'm excited about this, but you're like, I didn't get anything about, like out of it. And the Lord is like, because you were there to give. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we just want, right? What's for me, Lord? What do you have for me? Like, what about me, you know? And
how can I
benefit
give?
from this?
Yeah.
But that's real discipleship when you're out there giving and doing, right? That's how
Yeah.
God blesses you. He says, when you're in a bad place and you're struggling, go serve.
Yeah.
Go serve.
And that's honestly probably
Yeah.
been the best way I've started to pick myself back up is just simply with the phrase, how can I help?
Amen.
How can I help
So,
in the world where we want to be helped? How can I help?
I'm just like,
And that's so beautiful though, because that's what Jesus did. He's like, he served, you know, and I love the fact where Mary and Martha, there's a story in the Bible about Mary and Martha, and I'm very much can be a Martha, where we're just worried about getting everything ready, making sure everything looks good, what we look like, how the place looks, how it smells, how everything, right? But Mary knew exactly who was in her presence.
Amen.
And was like, leave everything, pause, stop, and then let me serve you. And she pours the bottle of oil fragrance on his feet, you know, and then you have Judah over there, or Judah, and the friend of me, and who's upset over this, you know what I mean? And anyways, point is, we're here to serve.
Yes. Beautiful. You did great.
I just go to
No, it's beautiful.
well, and that's one of the stories that I've always thought was an interesting to kind of, I guess, play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
with Judas,
Yes.
he knew what he was doing wasn't right, but at the same time, would we have had the crucifixion if he hadn't?
Right. There's always
So
he still served a purpose.
and he ended up giving back and trying to repent and everything. So it might not have been the best situation for him, and he did still err, but that brought in that kind of miserable defeat, that still brought him closer
Right.
in the end.
Well, there's this part where, you know, where Peter chops the ear off, and because Judas has sold out Jesus, right?
Yeah.
And Peter's like, not my Jesus, and he like chops it off. But Jesus tells Peter in that moment, Satan, get behind me, when Peter's Jesus' friend, you know,
Yeah.
he's the rock. But he calls Judas a friend, right? And it's crazy because you're like, wait, but he just gave you up. And Peter just was protecting you and defending you, but Peter was trying to get in the way of Jesus's purpose and destiny.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes, like I say, sometimes we're put in a place where we'll learn, but we're also a lesson.
Right.
And so, like with that, there, it's. I guess I'll chalk it up to, you know, I've learned that I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude.
I'm just a dude.
Yeah, you know, I don't know.
A dude for Jesus.
I don't know
Gosh,
things.
on a t-shirt?
Yes.
That'd be good.
Thank you.
But, yeah.
I'm sorry.
But you know, who am I to pretend that I know the bigger picture? Like when we were kind of sitting here, I don't remember what it was that you said, but it spurred the thought. God has 8 billion people he has to kind of try to keep their best interest in what they're doing and things like that. Like, I don't know how all those pieces would fit together.
Yeah.
And so, like...
I'm like, that's why he doesn't have a body.
Yeah. So, like, they come in and out, and I do feel like there's a bigger picture, and I'm not going to be one to guess it. So, at this point, just put me where I need to be.
Yeah.
And let me know my role. And
I love that so much.
Put me where I need to be and let me know my role. Look at that obedience.
It's
Put me
so
where I
simple.
need to be and let me know my role,
Girl,
Lord.
yeah, I love that. It's so simple. So simple.
But we struggle.
But I'm like, nope, but tell me.
But God.
But from here, where do I go next?
Right. And who's going to be there?
Yeah.
And why this road?
And will I like them?
You know what? What if I don't like it?
Yeah.
Down the path. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
We just go on.
Yeah.
Jared and I was actually talking about this.
I feel like men are very simple too, though.
Yes.
Sorry.
They are. No,
I'm
you're
pretty
fine.
simple.
Sorry.
I'll give that. You don't have to apologize.
No.
Women just complicate a lot.
No, you're fine. Jared and I was talking about this. He was saying, you know, you got two options. You can either live you can either give the Christian way, and Jared, I hope I don't butcher this. You can come on camera
Jared,
and say it
correct
correctly if you want to. But he said you can either live the Christian way and give it a chance, right? Because some people are living really hard lives and they're struggling with life, and you can give the Christian way a chance. And if you don't like it, you can go back to doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's like 50-50, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, give God a chance.
Yeah.
See what he can do for you, right? And if you don't like it, you have the chance, you have the option to go back, right?
Yeah.
But if you give him a chance, he might
might just
change
get
your life,
stuck with
right?
Jesus.
Get stuck with Jesus, get hungry for him. But I thought that was powerful because a lot of the world is like, well, there's all of this going on, right? I mean, there's some in between, but then like, well, I want to change. So here's the change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the light is the change. Go towards the light. Give the light a chance. And if you don't like it, go back to darkness, right?
Yeah.
Well,
like that's an option. So I thought that was powerful, Jared. Thank you. That was his quote.
He's like, yes.
Yeah, it's just kind of funny too, because even in that, with all the social medias and all the just abundant news and everything that's going on, I always take a step back and like, if you look, there's definitely prominent people, and they talk about their faith, and then they talk about the discipline that's brought into their lives, the purpose that's brought into their lives. And then you have the other spectrum where people are very much more, I guess, hedonistic, where they're still just searching for their comfort, their pleasure, and all that stuff. And it's funny because you look at them and they're doing all these fun, crazy things, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're in court cases, and we're hearing, and their lives are miserable and falling apart. And then
And they got all this money,
like,
acting a fool.
yeah. And then you just like look over and you see this guy just like really not too public, not in the big eye, and then you just like see an interview from him, and he's just content, and he's just happy, and he's like, so I guess for me that's like, do you want this just simple, like, I guess the fix? Do you want the fix that you're going to always have to chase? Or do you want actual contentment? So
Okay.
I definitely need some discipline. I definitely need some guidance. And I just feel like following the breadcrumbs, I'm kind of on that path. So.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it,
Yeah.
Alex. I think that's great. I think
you
it's
just
beautiful.
spoke to my soul.
You know?
No,
Spoke
I
to her
think
soul.
that's powerful, because just not too long ago too, I was telling Rita, because I've been getting invited to a lot of things, which in my head I'm like, it's technically networking, you know what I mean? But I know better than that, and so so I was going to these networking events, and I just was like, you know what? This just doesn't feel very like me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, Lord, you brought me this far without all of these things. You know what I'm saying? And now with
Put
me
my hand up for that one.
going into all of these things, nothing wrong with networking events. They were not networking events, okay? But that's what I was calling them.
They were called.
And so I'm just like, Lord, you brought me this whole way without all of this, right? And here I am trying to do it myself now.
Ooh!
You know what I'm saying? But that's causing me to play tug of war even more. I'm just complicating things, right? And I told Rita, I was like, girl, I think I need to stop. I was like, I need to stop going to these events. But because it's almost, but I do love the fact that the Lord has used that to make me sit with myself and to really go deep and be like, hey, but why do you feel like you need to attend these events? You know what I mean? And it's brought up a lot of thoughts of insecurity that I still have. Thoughts of, I don't think I'm good enough unless I'm associated with certain people.
Hanging with the cool kids.
Yeah, and it's like, no, like who's cooler
They
than
ain't really
Jesus?
cool.
You know what I mean?
Jesus
and
is cool.
and they're great people, you know. They're doing great things, but I just didn't feel like that's really where God was calling me to be and to get caught up in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I keep going on these tangents.
No, you're
and
good.
I'm like trying to get back to it. but
I love where you are at,
yes,
though, right? You're following.
I think it's so awesome.
Yeah, he's following the breadcrumbs, and he's just gonna let it. And just my advice to you: just know every time things get hard, is nothing but the enemy. I will say, open the Bible, Alex. Okay, I'm gonna call you next week. Be like, did you tell me where open to? Just open it. Say a prayer.
He's like, well, TikTok told me.
Right?
TikTok told me. Yeah.
Like, go here. Shout out to TikTok, right? That's what he said.
I think it's amazing though too that when you do go to these verses to read, though, God's still enlightening you, and I think that's so awesome because sometimes the Bible can be very hard to understand. I know before my relationship with God, I would open it and be like, oh, okay, I'm tired, I'm bored, but then once that curiosity, and mine actually came through Instagram too, because I would see all the little quotes and I was like, oh, okay. And then I had a pastor that would really sit with me and kind of go through verse by verse until finally I started reading books and in the Bible and understanding it like a movie. Like as I'm reading, cool. I'm like, the whole vision is playing before me. And that's when it just really opens up and comes to life. So I think you're well on your way.
Yes,
I think it's very, very
And I think
powerful.
too, like I've been seeing TikToks and Facebook Reels, and then you mentioned Instagram. I think the one thing to remember in a lot of this too is it's a tool.
Yeah.
Like for example, a sword.
Sure. You can use it for.
You can defend or you can attack.
Go ahead.
Which it's. I feel like especially with a lot of things that if anything is where our free will comes in, is because we can use the exact same tool to build or destroy.
Okay, you were not here for when Miss Pliego was talking. Do you see this?
The armor.
You
of
see
God.
this?
Yeah.
He was not here, but yet you are touching exactly what she said.
Yeah.
So cool.
I love it.
So
I think that's awesome. I think this is great. I told you this on the phone, and I'm going to say it. If you're going to continue this path with Jesus, we want to follow it. Now, if you want to go party, Alex, we gonna pray for you. But no, I'm joking.
Next time you just
you're like no. What was it? It's the Emperor's New Groove. Are you gonna follow the path to righteousness, or are you gonna follow the path that rocks? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was like, this is good. Like, righteousness path that rocks.
I'm telling you, God will speak to you in everything.
Yes.
The duck can be crossing the road, and you'd be like, you're right. I do need to go to the other side.
Right? It gives you a message.
Yeah.
But we're super proud of you. I think it's powerful to have somebody who's touching the surface of Christianity and how vulnerable for you to come out here and say, I do. Like I love the Christian religion, and I'm following the teachings, and it's making my life better, and I want to explore more because the Lord wants me. They are fighting for me, right? It's worth fighting for. So all of those great sayings, but just thank you for taking the time to come on here, and speaking with us and just sharing this. And this is important because somebody that is on the same path as you is going to hear this, and you're going to impact them, right? Because that's what we're doing. Yeah. And look at you being a vessel already.
Yeah.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
I love it. God is so good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Last words.
I'm like, I can't even get it out. Anything you want to say to our viewers and our listener? Any message you want to leave them with? Any powerful message?
I guess just with where I'm at, just, sometimes get quiet and listen and follow the breadcrumbs.
Follow the breadcrumbs.
Follow the breadcrumbs.
That's your thing. We got this.
Yes.
Remember to be bold.
Be brave and be better.
See you guys then.